Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters. And it's once again time for another trailer reaction. I've been knocking these out today, the ones that I've missed that I hadn't, had a chance to see. I'm finally getting to them. Been a busy week, both at work and in the real world, away from YouTube land. But here I am, and the film I'm looking at in the trailer I'm looking at is for the brand new second trailer for Hellboy, the Crooked Man. Now, the first trailer only dropped actually maybe a month or so ago, and it just dropped quietly. It's had mixed reactions from the die-hard fans of the comic book, as well as the fans of the original two films by Del Toro, who did the first Hellboy with Ron Perlman, and of course the one called Hellboy the Golden Army, with also Ron Perlman. And then 2019 we had a reboot with David Harbour and the director of The Descent, I believe. In did he do Dog Soldiers as well? Rob Marshall. But that didn't go so well, so I think people for a long time have just given up on Hellboy. And I think Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, is giving up on Hellboy for at least the cinematic, experience, because he's tried twice with some big studios, some big well-known studios, and, it didn't go as well as he hoped. The first two Hellboys with Ron Perlman I really enjoyed, but of course they were a mixture of trying to make him like a more, not as R-rated superhero is like the likes of Blade or Spawn, which is basically what he is. He's the comic series, which I'm a fan of the original comic series. I have a lot of the books. I've read a lot of the original material, including the Crooked Man actual book. And, he's a very dark, gothic, nitty-gritty series that deals with a lot of things. It has Nazis in it. It has, cults in it. It deals with a lot of folklores and, mysteries and urban legends from around the world, and gives it a very dark, unique, horror-esque tone to it. And that's not what the original Hellboy films did. The David Harbour one kind of do it better, but it just wasn't a great film. And I do believe it wasn't the director or David Harbour's fault. It had a lot of studio interference, and in the end I think the both of them two were just frustrated and wanted to just get the film done and so they could get away from it. But this film is kind of flew under the radar. Not many people's looked into it or talked about it because I think people have kind of give up. But I haven't, because I really want a Hellboy film that is based solely on what I remember from the books. We've had two iterations, but I'm hearing this one and the look of the first trailer that I did, it gives me vibes of what I'm looking for when it comes to Hellboy. In what I've read from the books, the feel, the lore, the overall, look of it. And that gave me some promise. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on this film. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, but who knows? But let's have a quick look at Hellboy the Crooked Man. Hellboy the Crooked Man is an American superhero horror film based on the Dark Horse comic character Hellboy, created by Mike Mignola, produced by Millennium Media, Dark Horse Entertainment, and New Boyoa Film Studios. It is the second reboot of the Hellboy film series and is the fourth live-action entry in the franchise. It is directed by Brian Taylor. He did the Crank films, so that's interesting. from a script he wrote with Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden, specifically deriving from the Crooked Man limited series written by Mignola. The film stars Jack Kesy. I've never really seen him in anything, but he's playing Hellboy alongside Jefferson White and Adeline Rudolph. Filming began in March 2023 in Bulgaria and wrapped in May. So it's very much, being kept in the wraps. It's really just something that's plodded along nicely with little or no interest. But I have been very interested in this. So here's the premise. In the 1950s, Hellboy and a rookie BPRD agent stranded in rural Appalachia discover a small community haunted by witches led by a local devil with a troubling connection to Hellboy's past, the Crooked Man. So let's take a look at the second trailer for Hellboy and the Crooked Man.
There's something going on here. I need to understand it. Like you do.
That's exactly why you shouldn't be here.
You might say a demonic entity falls under our expertise. Crooked Man's waiting on you.
That's interesting. Oh, you didn't want me to squash?
No, squashing's good.
I heard tales about him all my life. Most just called him the Crooked Man.
I thought Big Red wasn't scared of anything.
Oh, I know something you're afraid of.
You hear something?
Your road ends in the dark like mine.
Let's just keep on coming.
It ain't even really begun.
Come on, Snake, let's rattle.
Let not your horns be troubled. By way they know not. I will make the darkness light. And the crooked things straight. You doubt the power of prayer, son?
Just in case.
Right, straight away, loving it. I do. I'm not gonna lie, I do like the look of this. I know a lot of people are sleeping on it. I know a lot of people are, doubting that it's gonna do well, and it might do. It might not do. It might just do reasonably well. I don't think it's gonna be a bona fide massive hit by any means. Like maybe but if like some films, but if you look at the first two Hellboy films with Del Toro, they did reasonably well, but they weren't mega hits, but they did enough business to garner a sequel. In this film, like I say, because it's kind of flew under the radar, it hasn't had much attention, not many people's looked into it. I think this looks good. I think it looks good for what we're getting, and it's very much like what I was hoping for. Very dark, very horror, based, more horror based than superhero based like the previous ones. And it's sticking to the tone to the book. And because the fact that I think Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy's, had more creative control, really is his version of Hellboy. And I hope it lives up to the, my expectations and his. The Crooked Man is a well-known story within the Hellboy lore, and I'm glad that they've kind of followed one of the stories straight from the page, from the book, and bringing it to screen. you've got other like darker superhero, like horror type comic stories. You've got Spawn, I've mentioned that. We've got, Blades, R-rated. Look at the development hell that's been in over the last few years, but yet Hellboy's been able to fly under the radar, and this looks more like a film I'm going to enjoy more when it comes to Hellboy. The Crow, we've got the Crow reboot coming out soon, and a lot of people are just looking at that like it's going to be a pile of shit. There's been test screenings, and I've heard they haven't went over well. So I think the studio is just going to scramble and do what they can to make whatever money they can off it is possible. I potentially am going to go see The Crow to do a review. I'm going to take one for the team because I do have a lot of friends that are not interested in seeing it. And, I'm thinking, do I go and see it and allow them to, hear my thoughts on it? But yes, as going back to Hellboy though, it's, like I say, it's very much a darker, grittier superhero horror comic. And this feels very much like the book that I love to read. And I hope it does well. I hope, this is the Hellboy film that Mike Mignola always wanted to make. Because I think true fans of the book will probably enjoy this. General audiences probably might not bother because in their mind, Ron Perlman is their Hellboy. The more mainstream, bigger budgeted version of Hellboy, where this is probably on a much lower budget. But I still think in this, there is a good film somewhere, and hopefully people get to check it out. And I got vibes of Evil Dead in this. I got vibes of, other properties like this, like, horror things like The Conjuring. I got the Conjuring vibes out of this. I got Evil Dead vibes out of this. So it's definitely a different, darker feel and take on what Hellboy should be. And so I hope it lives up to at least that. But yes, I'm looking forward to this. I do think it is a film that's, for me personally, is going to do reasonably okay, I would like to think. I hope it's not a complete disaster. But what's your take on the new Hellboy, The Crooked Man? Did this trailer change your mind on the new film? And if you do know Hellboy and you know the lore, or if you've looked into Hellboy, what do you think of Hellboy in general as a hero and as a character? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, keep on enjoying your movie, keep on enjoying your television, keep on loving all things entertainment, and I'll catch us all at the next one.